Hello. Hey, Shajit. Good morning. Nice to see you, man. Okay. So thanks a lot for joining. So I have not started today's session yet. I was just recapping last week's. Last week we just gave an introduction to the overall Bhagavad Gita as written by Sri Aurobindo. So just that we finished that recap, and now we'll start on the first verse. So our today's session is um, totally dedicated to two lines, the first two lines of Bhagavad Gita. That is Dharma Kshetre Kurukshetre Samaveta Yuyutsava Mamakah Pandavas Jaiva Kim Kurvat Sanjaya. So, as we had discussed in last week, these rishis were very smart. The first mantras would be the most, representative of the entire story later. So, in Rig Veda, we also saw Agnimile Purohitam Yagyasya Devam Ritvijam Hotaram Ratnadhatamam. It was so profound. We spent about an hour talking about that. That was by Dr. R.L. Kashyap. So again, this first shloka of Bhagavad Gita is again very profound. I am following the book, the Bhagavad Gita, God Talks to Arjuna by Yogananda Paramhansa. So the first is Dharma Kshetre Kurukshetre Samveta Yutsava. I'll just give that word meaning. Dharma Kshetre, the Kshetra is that land. Dharma Kshetre, the place where I do an action of dharma. What is dharma? Dharma is not directly, there is no English meaning for this word dharma. So most of the masters write, when they write in English, they keep it dharma. They don't translate it because there is no word which can directly give the exact meaning of dharma. The closest is maybe the law, the natural law. So the way as in the beginning, Rishi Aurobindo was saying, we are not the doer of the action. We are part of a big cosmos. There are a lot of interactions and a lot of events happening in this cosmos. We are just a small part of that. Welcome, Abhishek. Are you able to hear us? Okay, so we'll continue. So so dharma is a law, the closest one, the natural, the thing that is inevitable, the thing that follows a particular order, the thing that is more related to the bigger scheme of things, thing that is we don't know what it is, right? So but there is a pattern, there is an order. So in Rig Veda, in the first mantra, they call it Ritu, right? Where he's saying, Agni, you are the Dev who knows the Ritu. The Ritu is order, the seasons, the order, the schedule. I don't know it, you know it, and you are leading it. So Dharma Kshetra, Kurukshetra. Dharma Kshetra is the place of the law. What is this place of the law? What is this Dharma Kshetra? This is, as per the Mahabharata, the way the Gita is written, it is Mahabharata's 18th book, 18th Parva. It starts after Bhishparva's 13th chapter it starts, and it continues till 42nd chapter of the Bhishma Parv. Bhishma starts when Bhishma is hit by the arrow and he falls down, and then it starts and it continues as Srimad Bhagavad Gita Parv, and then after that the Mahabharata continues. Now this first shloka is basically what's happening is the background is Sanjay is talking to Dhritarashtra, and he is reciting what's happened in the war. Now understand that it is an introspection, it is a flashback. The entire Gita is a flashback. That is again very profound. Why it is a flashback? Now, see the point at this point of time. What has happened is Sanjay has already spent his time in Kurukshetra for 10 days. 10 days battle has already happened. Now, Gita was, given the discourse of Gita was given by Krishna before the war. So before the war, Gita already happened. 10 days of war has already happened. And then Sanjay goes to Dhritarashtra palace, and then Dhritarashtra asked him, well, Sanjay, what happened in last 10 days? And then this guy, Sanjay, talks about it, what happened. So that is the whole thing. So the point that we have to note is it is an introspection. It is a flashback. There's a reason behind it. Why it is of introspection. Why it is not a live telecast. Because he has been given, this guy Sanjay had been given that gift of being able to see things, Divya Drishti, right? What is this Divya Drishti? So we'll come to that. So first is Dharma Kshetra. We said that Dharma Kshetra is the place where things happen as per Dharma. Kurukshetra is the land where the fight is happening. Samveta Yutsava. Samveta is everybody has where everybody has gathered together. Yutsava, with that ultimate desire to fight, युद्ध करने की इच्छा प्रकट करके there were these people who have come here. Mamka Pandavas Chaiva. Mamka means my, that is Kauravas. Pandavas Chaiva. So Pandav bhi, मेरे बच्चे और पांडव भी. That is also interesting. We'll come to that, why he is saying that way. Kim kurvat Sanjaya. What are they doing? So whole point is transliteration of the entire thing. On the holy plain of Kurukshetra, when my offsprings and the sons of Pandu had gathered together, eager for battle, what did they do, O Sanjaya? That's over. So there's the first shlok. Now we'll go to details what it is. Now, as we all know, Bhagavad Gita is an allegory. Every word has some other meaning. So first is, what is this Dharma Kshetra? Now, Yogananda Paramhansa, he explains it that it is the body field of activities. Kshetra is a field of activities, a place where actions happen, where things, there are things that are happening, circumstances, coincidences, people are meeting, people are talking, people are doing something. So that is an area. But that area, whatever is happening as per the law. And in the Kurukshetra is the place of battle. Now, this Kurukshetra is called as a Dharma Kshetra, and Yogananda is saying it is the inner bodily field. It is the inner bodily field. So inside the body, there is a battle that is happening. Inside the body means inside the body is inside the mind, inside the heart, in our inner self. There is a fight happening. There is a continuous fight that happens, and that fight is between Manas and Buddhi. Now, what is Manas? Manas is basically the sensual aspect of the mind. Now, mind is a blind part of the body. Mind understands things with the 5 senses. So, from the senses that we hear, that we get inputs, the mind tries to intellectualize it, tries to think on it. So, what mind thinks is said as Manas. It is the sensuous connection of the mind. Okay, so that is more of a whimsical, that is more of a sensual, that is more about desires, that is more of, like an ancient mariner, the rhyme of the ancient mariner where, the mariner just kills the albatross. Why it killed? He doesn't know. He just killed it. In the Samuel Taylor Coleridge poem. Now, what happened after that was huge, issues that he had to face. So he did something which was whimsical. He did something which was just he felt like. Now, that is what Manas is. Manas is that mind, sensuous mind. The other thing is buddhi. It is pure discriminating intellect. So buddhi is something that is coming beyond mind. Buddhi is something that is coming from a level of intuition, from a level of understanding, enlightenment, realization. So there is all that is in tune to dharma, that is in tune to what is the law. So there is always a fight between the buddhi and the manas, and that is Kurukshetra, where that is happening in the mind, inside my body. We feel goosebumps, we feel pain in our heart, in our chest, various things. We overeat and we have a problem in the tummy. So there are different battles happening. So Yogananda ji says the yogi, the awakening man, is confronted not only with the external battles fought by all men. What are the external battles men fight? External battles are battle to earn money, battle for power, battle for prestige, battle for friendship, battle for love, whatnot, right? So every man enters into this external battle. But a yogi enters into another battle, which is an internal battle. An internal battle is the Kurukshetra battlefield, which is happening inside. That is fought between Pandav and Kaurav. Pandav is the buddhi. Pandav comes from the word Pandu, which means white, which means clarity of pure discriminating intelligence. 5 Pandavas, 5 senses. 5 senses are harmonized and connected to the white Pandu. They are the offsprings of the Pandu, and they are aligned to the truth. They are aligned to the discriminating intelligence. Okay, they are fighting with what? 100 Kauravas, 100 wicked, impulsive, mental and sense tendencies. Offspring of whom? Offspring of the blind mind Dhritarashtra. What is Dhritarashtra? Dhrit means pakad ke rakhna. Rashtra means the kingdom of senses. So, who is harnessed tight into this kingdom of pleasure. So, when, as a man, I am harnessed tight by the external battle, I am the Dhritarashtra, I am blinded because I am blinded from the internal truth of Pandu, the white clarity, clairvoyance, peace, discrimination. When these two fight, this is the internal battle. So who enters into an internal battle? The yogi. The yogi, the awakened man, is confronted not only with the external battles fought by all men, but also with the internal clash between the negative forces of restlessness arising from manas or sense consciousness and the positive power of the desire and effort to meditate, supported by buddhi, intelligence, when he tries to re-establish himself in the soul's inner spiritual kingdom, subtle centers of life and divine consciousness in the spine and brain. Well, I mean, when I say internal world, it becomes again fuzzy. So, Yogananda ji and other rishis, what they did was they again conceptualized the internal body. They conceptualize into various centers of energy. They call it chakras. So, and every chakra has they have associated a particular tendency towards it, a particular characteristics towards it. So when you talk of Pandu, when we talk of Pandav, when we talk about the discernment, then the auditory center becomes the truth listener. So the auditory auditory senses doesn't want flattery, doesn't want, doesn't get moved by harsh truth, right? He can listen to criticism. So he is the truth listener. The optical center is the point of noble vision, right? So then the auditory olfactory center is the center of pure fragrance, sattvic fragrance of fruits, of flowers, of incense. The gustatory entry, the mouth, is of right eating, right? I mean, discernment in eating, what we eat. Is it, sattvic food or tamasic food, or do we overeat? Then vocalization is the place of kind and truthful speech. Kind and truthful. Then you have the in the chest, the in that is a peaceful sensation, and then you have the sex center, where it is about constructive creation. Okay, and the hands and feet is about virtuous step, where we do actions in seva. Okay, so this is when the body is aligned to the Pandu, aligned to the buddhi, the discriminating sense of truth. And but then when it is aligned to Kaurav, the 100 sense, wicked, impulsive, mental and sense tendencies of the manas, then the auditory becomes a prince of flattery, the optical becomes a print of ignoble vision. Then olfactory becomes a prince of debased smell. The smell that is debased gets attracted. The person gets attracted towards that. The mouth becomes the prince of greed. The voice becomes cruel and dishonest. In the chest, which always desires for a sensuous touch, and on hands are always engaged into destructive actions, and the sex center is no more a place of creativity, nurturing, and aligned to dharma, but it is more of promiscuity, right? It's all about indulgence in promiscuous sexual activities. And so this way the different different dimensions of the same body is being beautifully conceptualized by Sri Yogananda Paramhansa ji. Now the whole point is what here in Dharma Kshetra, Kurukshetra, what these two words are talking about is the whole body, the mind, the person's state, inner state, is always at fight with two possibilities. There is a duality always there, light and darkness, which are always there. And see, the centers are the same. The same center that would instigate a promiscuity in a person, the same center might inspire the person to create a wonderful work of art, right? So the points are the same, right? You are not taking sides. You are not saying this is bad and this is good. You are not saying that I is bad, or any other center is bad. But what we are saying here is each of these center is under influence of two energies, and being centered is about knowing, is about getting connected to the discriminating energy, getting aligned with the dharma. So Kurukshetra is Dharma Kshetra. The same land where the fight is happening is the land where dharma has to win, which is alignment with the Pandu, alignment with the discrimination, righteousness. So this is about the Kurukshetra. Then we'll go to, we said Dharma Kshetra, Kurukshetra, Samveta Yuyutsava. Samveta, everybody has come together in the desire to fight. Yuyutsava means in the eager desire to fight. Now see, the Kauravas are eagerly desiring to fight from a place of a manas, from a place of the desire, the mental sense consciousness. So they want they said, Duryodhana said, right, he will not be giving you a land as big as a needle. So he needs the land. He is entering into the battle of the outside world. He needs more. He is in a place of having. He wants to have more. Okay, so that is his desire. Now Pandu, where Arjuna, about him is, he's also in a flux. he is also in a turmoil. He is also in the battle. But why? What happens out of that? Out of that, Bhagavad Gita comes out. See, Arjuna's turmoil results into this beautiful work of knowledge, Bhagavad Gita, and his union with Keshav, his union with God. He wants to know what is dharma. He wants to know. His desire is what is the right thing. His desire is um, to understand what is happening, and what is the right discriminating thing that needs to be done. So his battle is that. See, he is a yogi who is in an internal battle, and Keshava, the truth, he is helping him to come up out of that inner turmoil. And there, when we go in the later shlokas, you see the words of Duryodhan. He is from a external world fight, right? He wants certain things, and ego, jealousy, anger. And the point here is, again, I mean, not taking sides. It is not that I, as a yogi, will not be impacted by jealousy or anger, or Duryodhan, as a non-yogi, might not be impacted by kindness and truth. There is a part of everything in everybody, but the point is how a person can be centered in Krishna. So we'll come later where Krishna makes it easier. He says, "Come to me," and we'll go to those later shlokas. So here the point is Samvita Yuyutsava. They all get get accumulated in one place. They get surrounded in one place. They come to one place. But everybody's Yuyutsava, युद्ध करने की इच्छा जो है, the desire to fight, desire, motivation is all different. They are all different for different people. Then Mamka Pandavaschava, very beautiful. Mamka Pandavaschava. See, he is saying, my people, that is, Kaurava are mine, and Pandavas are somebody else's, the Pandu's son. See, he is differentiating between both. So that it's interesting here, where Yogananda ji is talking that, see, there is a difference here. He is differentiating between Manas and Buddhi. What is Manas, because I am blind. So I am me, and that is what offspring of blindness is, the Manas, impulsive mental sense tendencies. And there is another aspect known as Pandav, which is the truth, which is the discrimination. There is two different polarization happening inside. This is from Yogananda. I thought little bit on that, and I felt that there was something beyond that, and probably there is an aspect of judgment here, and that judgment is happening from a blind king. Sanjay never says that. Sanjay is not differentiating between that who is his and who is not his, because both are part of every man. So I felt that since Dhritarashtra is in the impact of rag and dvesh, emotion, anger, jealousy, what all those 100 fragments of the mind. So for him, he creates circles. He creates my and yours. He creates we and they. So for him, there is always, he is not considering both as same. Right? So this causing an unrest, being blindfolded by passion, emotion, whims and desire, there is a separation happening within him. And Karl Marx used to call it alienation. He said, in the society, in this drive to earn more money, power, the material wealth and success, a man becomes alienated from the other man. The other man becomes his competitor. Friendship love, harmony doesn't come into place. It's about that other person is my competitor. I will have to outwit him. So he's alone. He's all alone. He's separated. So he calls, he's alienated. Now, very interesting thing is, alienation is not just about getting separated from your neighbor, from your friend, from your fellow human beings, but alienation is about also getting alienated from your own self. Marx used to say, stronger is the God, weaker is the man. Sigmund Freud calls this idea as the process of transference. They say that our own innate power we transfer to the other. So if there is an aspect of God, I transfer my power as a human, my creative abilities, potentialities, and vitality to another existence known as God, which is outside me or in the heaven. And I am weak. And I have transferred the power outside. So I have become alienated from my own self, from my innate strengths. So that is very, very unfortunate. Marx named such a man as a crippled man, a man who is not in tune with himself. So Rigved says, God is not out there. Dev is the emancipation of the cosmic power which takes birth within. See, so nowhere in Rigved or in Bhagavad Gita or anywhere, the God is not an external entity which would make me, alienated. It's all within. So it's very interesting where Mamka Pandavas Chaiva. Duryodhana is mine because he is my son, and Pandav is not mine. So there is a separation. So Jesus used to say that two things, as I said earlier, same as the Bhagavad Gita, where Jesus says you have to get connected to the God, the truth, the dharma, and you have to love your neighbor the way you love yourself. So there is a vertical alignment, and the horizontal alignment helps you to be centered in the coordinate of the Cartesian. So that way, there is no separation, opposition of separation. So the moment I am connected to God, that is connected to myself. God is myself, and I am connected to the fellow human being. Only then I am not blind. Only then I am not judgmental. Right? So we see we ourselves enter into that eerie judgmental state where we are so much in hatred with somebody else or something else which is not like me or like us. So that aspect here I've thought probably Vedavyas Ji is trying to talk about. So this is what I've thought. So alienation from the others and alienation from self. So there is a single state, that is a unity, that is me in peace, which through blindness by rag and dvesh gets scattered into hundreds of kauravas, and that is total alienation, separation. But in all these scheme of things, the Pandavas are thriving in harmony. They are rock solid because they are one with Keshav. What is Keshav? Keshav is that aspect of my own self which is in harmony with the dharma, in harmony with the truth. Okay, so again coming to what Rishi Aurobindo was saying, to know what is the dharma, I have to enter into Jnana Yoga, to know the knowledge. I will not be able to know just by Jnana Yoga if I don't have Bhakti Yoga, if I can't love the deity within me. And all these things is of no use when I don't implement it through Karma Yoga. So all these three are a triangle which are opposing to each other, but they have to exist. Karl Marx used to call it dance of dialectics. The life is a dance of mutually opposing forces. One plane of the triangle is forcing other side, the other plane is forcing on the other side, the other plane is forcing on the other side. All are forcing each other in mutually opposite direction. Only then there is a stability, and only then life thrives. One force comes down, the whole triangle collapses. So that was about that separation, about the discrimination. Mamka Pandavaschaiva Kim Kurvat Sanjaya. Now we'll come to who is this Sanjaya? I mean, why has Dhritarashtra needs a person known as Sanjaya? What is he? Well, it's so beautiful. From a story perspective, Sanjay was born as a weaver, born to a weaver known as Gaval Gun, but he was a realized soul. Now, another thing, see, uh, you know, you hear about Robin Sharma saying the leader without the title, right? So, Sanjay is just a small, worker for this guy, Dhritarashtra Mantri. He doesn't have a title, big thing, right? I mean, the way Sri Krishna or others, Arjuna or Bhim, the importance they get in the whole story, Sanjay doesn't get that. He's just a reciter. He's talking something. Nobody's interested in him, but he's a realized soul. He is a Muni. वो मुनियों समान ज्ञानी और धर्मात्मा थे. Okay, so Sanjay was himself a realized soul. Now Sanjay means who is capable for dispassionate introspection. Sanjay, who has got victory of everything, and one can get victory on his real self, on his inner self, who has attained victory of the self, is only who can be away from this separation, who is dispassionate, who is objective. So Sanjay, there are two things here. Sanjay is the ability of dispassionate discrimination of a man. And Sanjay is retrospecting. He is not doing a live telecast. He is talking about Gita which happened before the war. And that too he is talking 10 days after the war. So, here Yogananda ji talks about the importance of retrospection. So, he is saying that a yogi needs to get into a daily retrospection at night. On the battlefield, he was into the whole day. What were his Kauravas? What were his Pandavas? And where he failed, where he won, and what was that? So through only retrospection, and not retrospection from a standpoint of Dhritarashtra, where he is Dhrit with Rashtra, where he is harnessed and reigned, is held with sensory pleasures and his judgments and his manas, but from a standpoint of Sanjay, a standpoint of a yogi, a standpoint of a dispassionate introspector who can do the difference between the right and wrong. So that way the first shloka ends. I'll repeat again. Dharma kshetra Kurukshetra samveta yuyutsava mamka pandavascheva kim kurvat Sanjaya. So he's asking to Sanjay, what happened? Yogananda says, ask yourself what happened. Now it's very important to understand that Dhritarashtra, Sanjay, Pandu, Kaurav are in me. How I activate Sanjay to help me retrospect what happened during the day, and how I develop on my motive to battle. Why shall I battle the next day? So next day when I enter Kurukshetra, how I can make that Kurukshetra my Dharma Kshetra, and how the Yuyutsava, the desire to fight, can be connected to Keshav. How? So that how the reader asks now. Fine, got it. How? So now the next shlokas will slowly, try to unfold that how. So again, this treatise is not just an intellectual treatise. When this has to be felt in the body, felt in the mind. So, for example, this battle is more of trying to be in a place where I am not comfortable with. War is the worst thing that can happen to humanity, and that is the reason war is being taken here. So, a place where I would like to run away from, right? A place where I want to run away from. But here, the Gita discourse is happening. See, I mean, a place where you cannot even stand, a place where you will be killed if you stand there. There are two courageous souls who is talking about such a big treatise of Bhagavad Gita. So the point here is, no matter what the circumstance is, there is a possibility to be in peace. There is a possibility to be in connection with the truth, no matter what is the outside world. How to make that happen? So that has to be that capability has to be developed in the body. And so the yoga, I mean, yoga stands for union, right? Yoga, being united with that truth, being united to Keshav, being united to the God, being united to the real self, being united to the Sanjaya within, being able to listen to a discourse of Bhagavad Gita in the place of war, means being able to be in a place which is very uncomfortable for me to stay even for 1 second. How to do that? It's a different thing that, I'm telling it is a good thing, I understand it is a good thing to do, so we should do that. But how to develop that muscle to do that? Because whatever I do, I'll do with the body, right? So, Bhagavad Gita or any scripture or Rig Veda is not, discussed just from an intellectual level as a Jnana Yoga. No, there is a Karma Yoga associated with it. So, I have to flex my muscle, because the way my soul experiences itself in this world is through my body. So I have to do something with my body to be able to know what it means to be in a discomfortable place but still be there. So we are so fortunate that scheme of framework has also been given to us. There's yoga, Hatha Yoga. In Hatha Yoga, I am being in a very uncomfortable position. But Patanjali says a place where you are in tune, you are stable, you are comfortable. You are in tune, you are stable, you are comfortable. Now, being in a Sarvangasana, or being in a Vajrasan for that matter for 30 minutes or so, or being in any difficult position, right? Salvasan, Viprit Salvasan, or any difficult position, it's so tough to be there for even 2 seconds like that. But if I continually practice this day in and day out, the body becomes flexible. Body earlier, like for example, when I started this whole thing, in Vajrasan, I could not sit for even 1 second. I used to shout with pain in my ankles. But today I'm somehow able to sit in Vajrasan for around 20 minutes or so. I mean, it's not about, I'm not saying from a place of pride, but what I'm trying to say is that agility slowly gets developed. It takes a lot of time. I mean, for me it took about 5-6 months. But what I'm saying is Patanjali's Yoga Sutra gives a bodily framework to experience that battle, experience to be still, even when, like for example, the pranayam. I mean, when you you have different counts of breath, and Guruji Shri Ravi Shankar teaches Sudarshan Kriya, and there are 3-stage pranayam he teaches, and it's so difficult to keep that breath. I mean, there is a 10 times in breath you do, and then you take breath for 4 counts, and you hold it for 4 counts, and you leave for 6 counts, and you hold for 2 counts. Keeping that numbering in the mind, being one with that breath, and still keeping the breath in. And that too, he says, don't do normal breath, do Ujjayi Swans, Ujjayi breath. Ujjayi breath is from your throat. And it's so difficult. But when you do all this, you are counting in your mind. You are making sure that you are in an Ujjayi breath, because that has to be that way. So when you do an Ujjayi breath, you are feeling your throat within. Like this inside, you're feeling that. You have to put your hand in some posture like this. So that is paining. So say you are totally within your body. Your mind, manas, is not going anywhere. It's not thinking about anything, that this task has to be done, that has to be done. He told me this, he did me this is what I have to do. No, it is totally in the body, because mind by nature clasps things, right? Mind needs something to clasp on. So if I say you don't get attached to anything, it doesn't work, because mind by nature has to attach to anything, is attached to something. So intellectually, the concept of God was given. So intellectually, you get attached to God, and physically, you get attached to your body, swas, your breath. So when I'm connected to the breath, and then you close your eyes because you go inward, and then you are just watching your breath, and all these pranayam and yogas you do, and then you enter into dhyan, a meditation. You go deeper into it because you are totally within, inside. So in that level, there is no thought, but you're activating an intuition and activating something beyond mind. And when I'm activating something beyond mind, I am getting harmonized, and I'm resonating with the frequency of nature. And there probably something different would happen, which I don't know, but that is what Rigved Rishi says, where all those, as I had told last, we read that book last week, where they say that all these mantras were revealed to them in the state of deep meditation. It was not created by them, but they saw these mantras, they heard these mantras from somewhere in this nature. So, being in that listening mode, what this nature has to tell to me, there is a peace and stability and centeredness required from the level of body and mind. Scriptures help us to give the Jnana Yoga, about that conceptual understanding. Hatha Yoga helps me to, Yoga helps us to attune the body to achieve that. And Bhakti Yoga, faith, uh, gives that ability to all these triangles which we talk about. These together helps us to be rock solid. So again, I'll just conclude. The battle of Kurukshetra was three aspects: the material and moral. There's a struggle of good and evil, right and wrong, the sensory plane of Kurukshetra. The second level was a psychological war. Within the manas, there's a pull of life and consciousness outward towards matter, and the pure discriminating tendency, buddhi, drawing life and consciousness inward. So there's a psychological war between the outward and inward, and there's a spiritual battle, which is overcoming the sense of separation with God. Can I enter into a place of samadhi to be one with God? So, this psychological conflict for health, prosperity, self control, and wisdom has to be started anew each day in order for man to advance towards victory, reclaiming inch by inch the already occupied state of inner kshetra, inner self, by the rebel of ignorance. The yogi, the awakening man, is confronted not only with the external battles like others fought by all men, let they are economical, social, psychological, but also with an internal clash between the negative forces of restlessness arising from manas and from the positive power of his desire and effort to meditate. Thus settle at the subtle centers of life and divine consciousness in the spine and brain. So Yogananda ji has conceptualized some centers in the inside the body for the mind to get centered on them. Now, it's very interesting where Yogananda ji lot of time quotes the Holy Bible. So in Luke 17 chapter 21st verse, Luke is the gospel in the New Testament. He says, "Neither shall they say, Lo here, or lo there, for behold the kingdom of God within you." So Jesus answers to this when few Pharisees asks him in the previous verse. Pharisees are these people who are is a race who know the law, who know the truth. They are Jnana yogis, okay, but they lack the Bhakti yoga. They don't know, so they're asking Jesus. And when he was in the Bible is written, when Jesus was demanded, and when he was demanded of the Pharisees when the kingdom of God should come, he answered them and said, "Kingdom of God cometh not with observation, not with observation outside. Neither shall they say, lo here, lo there. Behold the kingdom of God within you. Okay, so that is going within, going within and being centered with the truth, and that way is very difficult, it's very fuzzy, it's very abstract when we talk about within. So the scriptures, Bhagavad Gita is helping to put that in a form of allegory, so that I can do a mapping, I can understand, and I can conceptualize it, and probably practice it in the daily life. So I'm done with today's what I had prepared. So any questions, any opinions, any thoughts? Okay, thanks, Shrit. So we will next week we will go to the next shloka, and again we'll spend some time. That live telecast doesn't work; it creates a lot of lag. So we will listen like this in the Hangout only. Tomorrow we have a session 6 to 7 on Rigved. So if you guys are interested, you're welcome to join 6 to 6:30 again. I am extending today. It's already 7. So if you guys are not comfortable with 1 hour, we can do it in half an hour. So just let me know. You can do. Okay, fine. So we will do, because in half an hour it becomes difficult. Uh, so tomorrow we will do the Rigved. I mean, Rigved is my personal favorite, because that is the core of it. Bhagavad Gita helps us to understand that deeper, because that is so condensed that you need a story to be carved out of that to really understand it. So that way, this itihas, that is Puranas or itihas, really help us to understand the Upanishad, the Vedanta or the Vedas. So that way, it is a good package, and I feel so fortunate to. We are so lucky to be Indians and to have this entire the beautiful legacy of knowledge, very easy, accessible. So it's such a pleasure. So thanks everybody for joining, and if you are interested, you can join tomorrow at the same time. We will speak on Rigved, and we'll always connect both. We'll always connect Bhagavad Gita and Rigved and see what comes through. And I'll also post this video in YouTube. You can view it, and please send your suggestions. And you are also welcome to give a talk on something that you would like to. It will be interesting. So the whole idea of this is, I was already reading these every day, so I thought it would be good if like-minded people get together. We all do our own readings, I know. And if you want to share something great, that would be nice. So if you can let me know in 1 week in advance, I'll not prepare for the next week. You can come and you can present your thoughts, so it will be really nice. We will stick on to scriptures, but you are welcome to bring psychologists, philosophers, Western, Greek mythologies, anything is fine. I mean, truth is all the same. So I am concentrating on scriptures as of now, but then I am equally interested in Western philosophy, and so anybody who is want to contribute in that is welcome. So we'll do that. Fine. So anything else? Okay. Thanks, Devesh. Thanks, Suresh. Thanks, Abhishek. Yeah. Thanks. Bye. Yeah. Yeah, sure.